I know there are many conversations happening around AI right now, and it means a lot that you've chosen to join us and spend this time with us. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Elsa Marie De Silva, and I'm the founder of Red Dot Foundation and Safecity. And for over a decade, our work has focused on making the invisible visible and really using data from lived experiences of sexual and gender-based violence to influence systems from policing to urban design and so on and so forth. And that's really where this session begins. Today, we are not just talking about AI as a tool, we are asking a deeper question. How do we move from data to design to dignity? And in my view, AI has enormous potential, but in the social impact space, the question is not just about what can I do? It is more about who is it serving, whose data is it built on, and who benefits from it. And of course, we've seen technology fail communities when it is extractive, when it is imposed, or when it reinforces existing inequalities. But we've also seen what's possible when it is participatory, ethical, and grounded in real needs. And that's really what we want to do today and explore with you today. And so this session is not a lecture nor a panel. It's really a space for reflection, for exchange, and for practical thinking about how AI can be used responsibly and meaningfully in our work. We have two demos, then we will have a breakout room, and then we will further have a conversation on the respective ways that we can engage with each other. And so before we begin launching into the lightning talks, I would like Webby, my colleague, to launch the first poll just to get a sense of who's in the room today. There are just three questions and very simple, no wrong or right answers. We just want to get a sense of how much AI you use, in what ways have you used it, and because there's so much of wisdom in the room, all of us are learning. It's like, we are building the plane whilst flying it, literally. So just wanted to get a sense of where everyone is. Great, welcome everyone. I see lots in the chat. So the first question is, how would you describe your current use of AI? And whilst people are still taking the poll, I think the majority say I use AI regularly in my work and I've experimented a little on ChatGPT. That's the second one. And honestly, for the last 2 years at Red Dot Foundation, that's what we've been doing, learning how to use AI. We've encouraged each other to use AI, held a lot of learning sessions. Personally, I've also upskill myself and I use ChatGPT pretty regularly for my grants and, everything. But today's session is really about understanding how to use it in our workflows. So going beyond using ChatGPT to improve your writing and your grant writing and your emails, etc. The second question is, what is your biggest barrier to using AI? So the first two, lack of knowledge and skills, and data privacy and ethics concerns, which is of course top of mind, really. Then it's the cost, and then, okay, the other two don't really matter. And this is also why we are hosting this session, because one is we can talk about AI and the pros and cons of it, but really it's already here. So we have to move on and figure out how to use it in the best way possible. And like, recently I joined a coalition started by Ambassador Kat Photowat, who's trying to make AI more feminist. And she believes that if we don't get involved and get our hands dirty, there's no way that we can influence anyone. So that's also one of the reasons why I decided let's do this session. And the third question is, how confident are you in understanding AI? So a large majority is somewhat confident and then confident. So that's a good thing. So if everyone who's joined in can also quickly take the poll, then we can have that as a record. Okay. So just a little bit about myself. Like I said earlier, I'm Elsa Marie De Silva. I'm the founder of Red Dot Foundation. Red Dot Foundation's mission is ending violence against women and girls. And we do that through crowdsourced data, community engagement, and institutional accountability. And I am going to stop the poll. In fact, I'm going to share the results with you, but I already read out the results, so no surprise. And I'm going to share a video of our work, which is a very short video so that you can understand what Red Dot does, because all the other demos are going to be on Red Dot's work. My name is Elsa Marie De Silva, and I founded the Safecity app. Safecity is an app that allows for women to report incidents of gender-based violence. That data is collected, organized, and distributed, helping women to make safer choices in their cities. Through the Vital Voices network, the Safecity app has expanded to 12 countries.
Hi, I'm Maya Tamayo. We are based in Quezon City, Philippines. We have appreciated the value of a technology like the Safecity app, wherein we are given crucial data. One of our signature programs is the Fellowship for Elected Women Mayors, Vice Mayors, Councilors around the Philippines. When we discussed the application, they realized that gender-based violence is a crime against the community and not only among the individual persons. We want policy reforms that would actually help women achieve gender justice. For us, this is really the way forward.
I'm Samara Castro. I'm from Brazil. We have the same situation in Brazil like other countries. We have a lot of violence and we don't have a lot of information. So I try to connect different organizations with the Safecity app and show how it's important we have this kind of collective action.
My name is Jen Anyango. I'm from Kibera in Nairobi, Kenya. Creating a safe space for young girls to have someone to talk to is very, very important. And when Elsa shared about the app, I loved it so much because initially I'd started a platform we call the Talking Boxes. Talking Boxes is about installing boxes in schools and encouraging kids to write whatever they want to share and they put into the boxes. And then we organize forums for these girls to talk about themselves. Report sexual harassment. In Kibera, not everyone have access to mobile phones. So with the Safecity app, we have to get a way of collecting reports. So we use the Talking Boxes. This app has helped us to provide data for national review reporting. People within the communities, they are connecting reality to research. And that is the only way that we are going to have sustainable development.
Collective action is the only way that we can push the needle and make a difference. Great. So you now understand what we do at Red Dot Foundation. And I just want to share one story recently that, came up as a hotspot. So I'm from India, and a large part of our work is in India, in 6 states. In the state in northern India, Haryana, we are working with the police. But we have this top-down approach working with the police and institutional partners, and a bottom-up approach with the community. So educating them on their rights and educating them on the socio-cultural barriers or factors that create a culture where such harassment is possible, challenging harmful social norms, and also bystander intervention, also formal reporting procedures. But the truth is, they don't want to really go to the police. So one of the hotspots that came through was on a busy stretch near the highway, where women and girls would pass by on a daily basis. This was near an alcohol shop, and it was also a trucker's stop. So the guys who would drive a truck around would take a break. They had a bench lined up, which would double up as a bed. They would buy their alcohol from the shop nearby, also order some food from a cart, and they would sit and relax. Now, as they were doing that, they would also intimidate the women and girls passing by with their constant male gaze. They would pass comments, they would sing and whistle Bollywood tunes. Most of the lyrics are sexist and misogynistic in nature. And some of them would even touch and grope these women. And that came up as a hotspot. And in the discussions, these women said that they didn't feel safe, and they couldn't really talk about this to their family members because in that part of the country, they are very conservative. And under the guise of safety, we know that a lot of families can limit the mobility of their women and girls to protect them, to save their honor, and to keep them safe. But these women and girls didn't want their mobility to be um, limited. And of course, when you start sharing your experiences, sometimes the blame comes back onto you. What were you doing? What were you wearing? Who were you with? Why were you in that space in the first place? And so on and so forth. So they kept silent for most of the time, but they had the courage to tell us and break their silence, because most of our stories, in fact, all our stories are anonymous. So this came up as a hotspot, and we now presented it to the police. And we asked the police, do you know this is happening? Of course, they don't have this data because more than 90% of the women and girls on our site have confirmed they don't report officially to the police. So the police said, yes, we've seen it happen, but because there's no complaint, we didn't take it seriously. In fact, it's so normalized that they didn't even think about it. But now, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So they had to do something. So we said, what is it that you can do? And that's when we started brainstorming with them. And they said, we can pass an ordinance that the alcohol cannot be consumed within a few meters of the shop. We respect that the truckers need a space to rest, but it does not have to be in this location. It can be in a different location, and so on and so forth. And of course, patrol that area to make sure that, the women are not intimidated. Now, these were small changes, but they had a big effect because the women and girls started to notice that, yes, sharing our story, even if it's anonymous, does make a difference. People do care, and people can make a difference. They started to notice that. And in all the communities where we have worked, we've realized that when the community is engaged and active and involved, women and girls feel more confident to take negotiated risks. They walk more confidently with their head held up high. They stay out later. Say if they were earlier allowed to stay outside their home till 7 p.m., now maybe they can come home at 9 or even 10 p.m. And those 2 or 3 extra hours have a big effect on these women and girls. They also take negotiated risks to venture further from their home. There's a paper by Girija Borkar that talks about the consequences of sexual harassment on women in Delhi, where they actually compromise on their education choices. But we see that when they feel safer, they are able to go further from home and take up the courses and jobs that they want, not what their family thinks is important for them. So It's very important that this hyperlocal data reflects the lived realities of people, and that once we understand what the patterns and trends are, we can then design and create solutions that resonate with the community. And most often, we find that the community also has a say in how these solutions are created. So, this is a small example of how we work, but we have many stories like this. What I now want to show you is how we use this data. So we have a lot of data, 130,000 incidents from 85 countries, and you can imagine the number of hotspots. Now, analyzing this data, finding those hotspots, making sense of it takes a lot of time. Jaya is on my team. She's in the audience, and she knows that it takes weeks and weeks and many, many days to clean up the data and make sense of it. So what we are now going to show you is a demo from Murmur AI, who has helped build um, a bot for us on AI. And Floyd will demonstrate how it very quickly can analyze the data and show us patterns and trends, and what this means for a small organization like us. Over to you, Floyd.
Thank you, Elsa. And hello, everyone. My name is Floyd De Silva. And just as a short introduction, I've been in the software industry for about 25 years, working for some of the largest companies and building solutions for some of the largest companies in the world. And I also work with Elsa off and on with Safecity. And a couple of things stand out, right? Number one, nonprofits do not get access to the latest software. And number two, even if they get access to the latest software, there's a big skills gap. It's very difficult to implement these ideas or the software. So we were talking about it, and we started Murmur AI with the concept to bring the best technology to nonprofits, because AI can really do things that earlier took months and years to do, but we can do it in a few days or a few weeks now. And I'll show you a demo on what we've done. But like Elsa described, Safecity collects a lot of information from different people, from women primarily across the world. This data is collected from their website. It shows up in spreadsheets, and it takes a long time to analyze this information, right? Now, in Safecity's automation pipeline, we call it an automation pipeline. So a person who faces sexual harassment will report on the website, on the Safecity website. It is captured on a Google form, which then lands up on a spreadsheet. The data is not always great, so it takes a long time to clean the data. It's then uploaded into Google BigQuery, where a lot of analysis happens, and then finally it gets onto reports. And once it gets onto the reports, that's when the hotspot is identified, and then the campaign can begin. Yeah, you involve local authorities, and then you try to make those spaces safe. But the challenge we took upon ourselves is, how do we collapse this timeline? Sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes it takes a few days. But is there a better way to analyze this information quickly and take action on it quickly? So let me share my screen, and I can show you what we're doing. So if you look at this spreadsheet here, this is real incident reports. It's a small set compared to what Safecity actually has. These are just 200 incident reports. And for this demo, we are using only Mumbai in India as an example. This could easily be Sao Paulo or Tokyo or any other big city in the world, but we're using Mumbai as an example. So 200 anonymized reports. There are no names, there are no email addresses, there are no phone numbers in this report, but it is real data of incidents that have occurred in different parts of Mumbai, and they've been reported by, and these incidents have been submitted by men, women, and non-binary people. And the good part is that Safecity actually captures geolocations, right? So it's able, the way you identify a hotspot is primarily with all this location information. So this is one piece, it's the data. And now this data needs to be analyzed. When you have 130,000 records, it is very difficult to analyze this information. So what we did was we built an app. This is not in production yet, so it's not ready to go live. I'm still working on it. But what you see here on the left pane is a world map. So this could be any city in the world, right? And what you see on the right pane here is currently blank. When I click this upload button, what you're going to see is the data from the spreadsheet starts getting uploaded into the AI. And it starts analyzing, it's first programmed to analyze the geolocation. So let me go ahead and click the upload button now. So you see the data is being uploaded. The AI starts identifying that the data comes from India, from Mumbai specifically, and starts mapping it out. It starts flagging all the incidents based on their latitude and longitude. And that's what you see happening here right now in front of you. So everything marked in red is showing that this is where the concentration lies. This is the hotspot from these 200 reports. This is the hotspot compared to everything else that has been reported in Mumbai. So the AI automatically has, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to move this out of the way, has identified that there were 200 reports and 120 of them were from this location, which is Dadar West in Mumbai. Now, you could easily stop here and say, hey, we've identified the hotspot, right? But let's look and see if AI can analyze this further. So again, with the click of a button, we ask the AI, can you go into more details? Can you tell me more about this data? And what it does is really amazing. So it tells you in a summary that there were 200 anonymized incident reports submitted to Safecity between October of last year and April of this year from within Mumbai. And they can all be categorized under these buckets, right? So there were some that were touching and groping, there were some that were ogling, and so on and so forth. What's even better, it tells you that this data was reported to have happened during peak hours. So this is when people go to work and come back from work. And it was 60% of the people who reported were women and 19% were male. It recognizes that the hotspot was in Dadar West, where 60% of the reports actually happened. And within Dadar West, during peak hour periods, it was primarily the railway station. It happened on the platform or the footbridge or the exits where the population density is the most, right? Now, this is really amazing. Within a short span of time, it was able to sample a decent amount of data set and then come up with an analysis that not only pinpoints the location, but it also tells you where it happened and what time it happened. And it goes on to tell you more details about different locations in the other West, but it also comes up with campaign recommendations, right? So it says, let's say, for example, we can start a campaign called Safe Steps in Dadar. And some of the things that we can do is we can use the Western Railway PA system to make 3 daily announcements during peak hours. We can start a WhatsApp group for the women in Dadar and notify them about all these incidents that are happening so that they're aware and they're on guard. So it goes into many levels of detail that is really actionable information rather than data on a spreadsheet, which takes a couple of days to a couple of weeks to process. This is actionable information which can then be handed off to a campaign manager. Now, a lot of times, we want, actually not a lot of times, we want a human or a person to review this every time because sometimes AI could go wrong. Sometimes you can have information that is misinterpreted. So you give access to this to a campaign manager who looks at the reports who verifies the information, who can take the recommendations that AI gives it, and then take this action forward. So with that, I end this demo and I'm handing it off to Colleen.
So Colleen is from Vinyl Marketing and integrated fundraising, and she and I have been working for the last 1 year on a campaign called Daughters of Tomorrow. And Daughters of Tomorrow really is, um, you know, to make sure that the world is safer for our young women in the future, where they can walk with their heads held up high, and they walk with confidence, with no fear. They are unapologetic and they make their own decisions. And it was fun working with Colleen. And now I would love to see what she has prepared based on this data set and this trend that we identified. Over to you, Colleen.
Thanks, Elsa. Yes, I've been grateful to partner with Elsa over the past year. Our marketing agency works with nonprofits to help them run campaigns, launch campaigns, and tell their stories more effectively. And through that work, we have started this new company, Integrated Fundraising, that's an AI enablement company for nonprofits, because what we've discovered is that the time and investment that it takes to launch these sorts of campaigns and do the work that really fuels support has fundamentally changed. And so when Floyd handed off the campaign brief, which I'll show you in just a minute, I challenged myself to do the work that our agency would typically do over the course of 6 months. And about a $75,000 fee in a day. And I'm going to show you what I did and how I leveraged AI to do that. The way we think about AI for nonprofits is through systems, through building systems within the organization that build upon an AI brain, because one of the biggest problems we see in AI implementation in this moment in the nonprofit sector, and quite frankly across the business sector as well, is that it's junk in, junk out. A lot of organizations aren't leveraging their own data as effectively as Elsa is in this demo to found the work that they're doing. And then once you've built that AI brain, you can build effectively AI employees or AI systems that sit upon that to help you accomplish the work. We're in a position where we have a decade of experience of working with all these different types of approaches within our own work. And so that's the work that we've done in shaping our systems. And so I use 5 connected systems that I had built to launch this campaign, and each has a distinct purpose within the iterative process. So one of the places where I feel a lot of AI users are falling short is they try to do too much in one prompt, where if you can segment the work into an iterative process, you can get a lot more accomplished and a lot more effectively. So with that, one of the keys to good content and good campaign work is that it's high quality. And so part of our work is an AI system called the Brand Director that runs it through a 9 criteria set that ensures that the messaging of the campaign and the visual identity of the campaign and the approach is falling into all of the requirements that our organization would require of ourselves if we were doing human created work. We want that work to be relevant, respectful, disruptive, so that it grabs attention, creative, and human, meaning that it starts with a human idea and has a high human touch and human gates before it moves forward. But also avoiding the AI slop that we see out in the world. There's so many patterns of speech and visual things that are becoming the paramount of AI work, that being able to filter for that in the creative process is really key. With that, I'd love to show you the assets that we developed. And again, I did this in a day, but even just 6 months ago, if I had scoped the same campaign out to the same level of quality, the same level of output, it truly would have taken our team 6 months to develop. And it probably would have been about a $75,000 scope of work. So let me share with you what I received from Floyd that commenced this work. So Floyd shared this campaign brief out of the app that Murmur AI built. And he just showed you on the screen that output, but it output in a nice PDF format. And then he also was able to deliver to me a markdown file, which works really well with the AI interfaces that we use. And it gives the information, the key pieces of the campaign essentials. And that was the basis from which we began our work. From there, I took it, I'm going to share my screen once again, and I took it into Claude. Now, we started using ChatGPT 3 years ago when everybody started using ChatGPT, and switched to Claude early this year for many reasons, and we can get into those later in the breakouts. But what I've found is there's a lot of value to leveraging Claude in this way. Because it has the ability to do agentic work and to work alongside various apps. And using an AI brain that lives separate from your AI system helps you to have a really robust amount of data. So Elsa and I have a year of work together that I was able to use to build that brain. And I started by just bringing in the campaign brief and a very, very simple prompt. This is not the big, complex, expert level prompts that you may have grown into over your own AI use. But what you'll see is this chat is tremendously long because it's an iterative process. And I'm going to just pause and show you what happens with that brand director system. It's scoring those 9 parameters as I develop the work. And this early on in this chat, you can see my scroll bar is pretty high. Quite frankly, it wasn't good yet. It was still pretty AI driven. I didn't feel like it was necessarily quite right. And so there was a few hours of work right here, but only a few hours of work. And, having worked with copywriters for years and creative teams for years, genuinely what I got done this Saturday when I did this, genuinely would have been about a month and just a year ago. But the output ultimately led me to a very detailed strategy that I then took into a different system within Claude, a different AI system that we had built to then develop the marketing plan and the essentials from there. I won't get into the details of that right now, but I would love to show you what we were able to produce as a result. So I'm going to share with you, this is how we would typically present this to a client. It's a campaign deck where we present the vision for the campaign. And so here is the campaign mark, creative direction for SafeSteps.R. And we begin with a strategic direction of explaining the approach for the campaign. One of the things I find so inspiring about the Red Dot Foundation is that it is an empowering call to women to report and take action anonymously in order to increase that data visibility and fuel change. So that was the centerpiece for this approach. But as I was working with this, it also was clear this needed to be a campaign that could both deploy locally as well as help also build support for the work that they're doing. I am not a person who can speak or read Hindi, and I leveraged the AI to help write that. And it was really great to get on the call yesterday with Floyd and Elsa and have them vet that I had done that correctly. But even that is a barrier that's removed with these tools, that we can launch a campaign in, with me sitting here in the US, in India, that was readable and relevant to the women in that neighborhood where that hotspot lives. The campaign strategy had 2 audiences. So I wanted to create a set for the local deployment in that area where that train station is and in the area surrounding it. And so we created a marketing plan and with the KPI of increasing reporting, and then a secondary plan for funding aimed at international audience, primarily digital, but with some traditional outbound in key areas, with the $48,000 US funds raised KPI with a 6-month goal as a means of crowdfunding the out-of-home deployment. We developed the visual system for this campaign, which quite frankly I like a lot. It's building upon Elsa's existing branding. and then an activation strategy. And so this deployment strategy has traditional placements like billboards and bus sites, as well as digital campaign with mobile landing pages, Instagram Reels, Instagram and Facebook feed ads that could be pulled into WhatsApp as well. It's the same media buy. And then the traditional outbound for the crowdfunding effort as well. What I haven't shown you yet, though, is that that's only just the beginning of the work that I was able to develop with this campaign. Uh, a full suite of ready to deploy assets, all from this effort. When I reviewed this with Elsa yesterday, one of the things she had said was, "Hey, I want you to see this photo here of this woman in front of the train." She said, "You know, we try to make sure that our photography isn't gloomy, and so I previously had this photo as the genesis, and I created this photo with ChatGPT." And so I just went back to it and said, let's brighten up the weather. That'll make it less gloomy. It's a rainy day in Mumbai. Let's make it a sunny day in Mumbai, and then apply the duotone, which help to add some light to the photo. Uh, and what I love about this is we were also able to develop two landing pages that could be used in the crowdfunding effort. The destination for the reporting effort already exists with Safecity app, but we were able to build ready to deploy landing pages that could immediately help to drive support for that effort. And from a fundraising standpoint, being able to mobilize support towards a hotspot within a few minutes of reading the data and then a few hours of creating the creative and launching the campaign, to me feels very motivational for a donor base to know that they were immediately making an impact. And then you could even create an impact campaign that sits upon that very quickly that talks about the progress that you're making. One of the things that I love about this approach is that you can very easily and quickly modify things. And so, for instance, if I here wanted to use a photo instead of the hotspot map, it's a very simple edit where I can come in here and it's already got the photos built into the library. Now we'll see how fast it wants to work for me here. But these sorts of tweaks and edits and creative freedom is all within our hands. I am a strategist. I'm not a graphic designer, but I made all of these materials using these tools and building upon the strategy that was in my mind from what Elsa and Floyd delivered. And let's just see. There we go. There's one of the photos that we developed for the campaign, quickly tweaked and ready to go, and we could carry that forth. So just to give you kind of a glimpse of what's possible from a campaign standpoint, from a building support standpoint, the way that I've been thinking about this is, quite frankly, it feels that organizations have the communications power of a multi-million-dollar corporation in their hands all of a sudden without needing grant funding to get there. It's just the differentiator between the organizations that can and can't is really just a matter of implementation and understanding how to apply AI systems within their teams and work as they transition into this new era. Elsa, I think that's it for the demo. Pass back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this is an applied AI session, and I wanted to show you on Red Dot's work because currently we are building for ourselves. And once we are confident, we want to open it up to our Safe City Alliance partners. And I know some of them are in the room, like Dunya from Croatia and others. So, but you know, I think in the last 1 month, we have made so much of progress on AI. We are building an HR bot which will do everything from inducting people into the organization to leave management to volunteer management, etc. We have built a new website completely from scratch. It was like for 6 months, this task had been pending, and I was so fed up. And finally, we got it done in 5 days, which was amazing. So you can check out red.foundation.org. That's the website completely built on AI. And I love it. I think it's better than the one that somebody else made for us. And then the third one is, of course, the cleanup tool, which Floyd demoed. It's not yet fully done, but it's already showing so much of promise. And I already have ideas on what else to do. So my brain is racing. And I want to know what you think. So I'm going to ask Webaby to launch the second poll before we go into the discussion groups. These are only two questions. So, after you've heard so far, how do you see AI's role in your work? And what excites you most about AI for social impact?
While they're doing that, Elsa, I think it's worth stating too that the page they registered through and all of the social posts we also made entirely with this approach.
Yeah. Juliet, you have your hand up. We'll take one question, but we really want you to go into the breakout rooms and discuss. But yes, please share.
Okay, so I just wanted, I was actually thinking there was a place we were supposed to take the poll, or is it, are we supposed to respond verbally?
Can you not see the poll?
I didn't see it. That's why I was confused.
Okay, because there are people, almost 70% have taken the poll. So maybe if you go to the bottom, the three dots and click on poll, maybe it'll pop up on your screen. It should already do that. So, Tim, your question on the location to be shared, our app is so the Safecity app is a geo mapping tool for anonymous reporting of sexual and gender based violence. And yes, they give consent.
Got it. Thank
And
you.
every single report is read by a human being on our team before it is approved in the system. So we do not name, shame, or blames. And even if in the free text field people have put in any names, we redact that.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
I'm just looking of Safe City data. I haven't added anything.
yeah. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. So yeah, so a lot of you believe that it's good for efficiency and helpful for decision making and critical for impact and scale. And what excites you? Largely better data and insights, reaching more people at scale, personalization and user support, and predictive and preventative solutions, fundraising and resource mobilization. Great. So we want you to also have a discussion, of course. So I'm going to ask Webavi to put the questions in the chat section. And then we'll have 15 minutes of discussion. And when you come back, we'd like to hear from you. What did you hear or see? Because all of this is under production within what we've just shown you is under production. None of it is live. So we want you to help us improve what we are building so that it's useful to our communities, and we also believe that you are part of our community. So Webavi, please put the questions in the chat. Okay, great. So I'm going to send you all into breakout rooms. Hey, Thomas, how are you? Hello, can you hear me? You're on mute if you can't. Hi, Fatima.
Hi,
Do you want
going back.
to send you
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just got disconnected.
okay. I don't know, you're in room 2, so
Yes, I'm joining. Thank you.
yeah. Sometimes this has a pre-timer. So it says 60 seconds. I didn't see that because I was closing the breakout rooms. Well, I hope you had a good discussion. And I know I jumped into several rooms and everyone was like, you know, keen to share their thoughts. So maybe we can have a couple of people share their thoughts, what came up, what was the good thing that AI did? Because I've been in a lot of conversations over the last 3 weeks at various conferences from school to Women Deliver, and a lot of people are focused on the harms of AI. And yes, there's a lot of harm, but there's also a lot of work being done to counter that harm. And whilst that is being done, what is it that we can do to move forward and take our organizations forward and use this opportunity as well to not be left behind and to influence systems? So, what are some of the good things that you've seen or can see or would like to see? Maybe a few of you can share.
B, can I put you on the spot? Will you ask the question that you just asked me because it made me laugh?
Would you please help me, Colin? Please. You put it better than me.
You bet. So on the breakout room, she goes, I love the campaign you created, but is it real? And I said, no, for real, it is. I really spent all day Saturday here building this. And I pulled up my receipts. So you can see this is actually the second chat with Cloud Design, and it's long. You can see all my comments, many comments, shaping it to where it needed to be. This really is what it looks like, meaning that the work has collapsed into months, have collapsed into hours if you apply it right. And I'm not a graphic designer.
Yeah, so I was actually talking to Esther when we got kicked out of the breakout room. But Esther's concern was that Esther's a lawyer and she's used Chat GPT and she was not very comfortable with the results. So I was just explaining to her at that time that, AI can do a lot of great things, but you have to guide it along. If you're able to give it specific instructions, if you're able to put the right guardrails across, so that it doesn't do things you don't want it to do. And if you give it a rule-based instruction set, then the outputs that you get are actually or close to what you were looking for. It always needs you as a person to go and review and sometimes correct the work, but largely, yeah, that's all you need to learn how to do. Be able to give it the right instruction set and guide it along in the right.
Okay. Webavi, do you have the last poll for everyone? So we have 3 questions. Where do you believe AI should sit in social impact work? As a tool, as a strategy, as infrastructure, or still figuring it out? What is one action you are likely to take after this session? Try an AI tool, explore AI for a specific project, discuss AI internally with my team, seek partnerships or expertise, or still unsure. And the last is what kind of support would help you move forward? Training, workshops, practical tools, templates, case studies, examples, technical partnerships, funding support. So I'm going to end the poll because 90% have taken it. So I think it's clear. I think the first question, it's almost equal as a tool, as a strategy, as infrastructure, and still figuring out. The second one, action to be taken, explore AI for a specific project and discuss internally with my team, seek partnerships or expertise. I think that's great, because the more I have started to deep dive into it, I feel there's so many ways it can be used. And of course, all of us work. I mean, the people in this on this call are mainly social impact people. So you always will, put the guardrails. So I don't think we are going to create tools and infrastructure that will harm people. And at least for me, the do no harm principle is always at the back of my mind. So I'm careful about it. But so I don't see that to be a big problem. But I feel that we should get proficient because it's moving really quickly, and support practical tools and templates, technical partnerships, etc. Funding, I would also love funding. So in line with that, I want to we had this idea of sending everyone back into the breakout rooms, but instead of that, we'll just stay in the main plenary. What's next, and how can we support each other? Floyd, maybe you can share what's next and what are you planning for this community and how are you seeing it develop? And then, Colleen, maybe you can answer that as well. You're on mute.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said in the presentation and in the breakout rooms as well, right? Murmur AI is a very new company, and one of the main reasons why it exists is because with my work with Safecity in the past, there's always been a technology gap. I'm calling it a technology gap because either the skills were not available or the technology was not available, and so on and so forth. Now with AI, we are able to bridge that gap and bring the technology to nonprofits. But I also clearly understand that there is a lot you can do with AI, and we at Murmur AI, we want to help people, right? So it starts, I think, with education. It starts with the ability to handhold people through this journey. I guess what I'm trying to say is when people approach me and say, how do I start this journey on AI? What I would like to do is have a short conversation with them, understand what they do for work, understand what tools they are already using, and then help them automate or build at least one use case or one scenario within the organization. Once they see how that works, then that is what carries them to the next project and the next project. It's addictive. Once you start working with it and you see how good it is, and how it really helps you and the efficiencies and the time saving that it can bring to you, you will automatically want to do the next project. So uh, what I would like to tell you is Elsa, me, Colleen, we're all here to help. Reach out, to me or Elsa, any of us, and just start a conversation. I understand that some people might feel it is daunting, some people might feel overwhelmed with it, or some people might not like it. But let's start a conversation, and we're here to help you. We'll understand what you have and take it from there.
Thanks. I've also put in the link for Murmur AI solutions. You will see what we are building, but also some of the things. So for leadership, if you want your leadership to have a strategic AI roadmap for your organization, we can help you with that. If you want like the basics, also we can help you with that. But I think it's really about helping people get onto this journey. Okay, Colleen, what about you?
We are also a very new company, building upon a decade of working with nonprofits. And what integrated fundraising is it's a coaching community for nonprofits that are looking to learn how to apply AI within their own work and within their organizations. So we provide group coaching and one-on-one coaching and help organizations to apply AI systems and build them within the organization, troubleshoot the things as they come up, and ultimately lead them down a path where they're able to build more support. So we supply resources, coaching calls, a community of other nonprofits, because we really believe that the only way that everybody is going to grow is together by learning in community. So if that's a thing that is attractive to you, I would love to have a conversation about that. But even if it's not, we have some free resources that we're developing all the time. We have a weekly newsletter where we're reporting back on the things that are emerging in the AI space and translating that into the work of nonprofits and just using that as an educational tool. So I'd encourage you to sign up for that as well. I'll drop a link in the chat with there's a landing page that we built for you all that has the deck that you can download and some more information about how we work. But I would also encourage you to just check out the newsletter as well. If you hit the home button, you can get a look at that and just stay in touch and stay on the front end of this, because as we've all seen, it really is a transformation in how we work. And when I've been just thinking about this conversation and thinking of you all, there is a fundamental shift in the way that you can communicate with the audiences that you're trying to reach, and the way that you create capacity within your organizations that is truly, it's not different than if you were to receive an unexpected $500,000, $1 million funder overnight. But it's just the differential between where you are now and where you're going is just that application layer of how do you leverage these tools to do your best work. Yes, as also said, there's a lot of complexity to the AI conversation, but I think the biggest responsibility we have is to make sure that those of you who are doing the most important work in the world are equipped well with these tools that will make it easier for you to get that work done.
And I also want to reiterate that nobody is losing their jobs at Red Dot Foundation.
Nope.
In fact, In fact, the more we dig deep, the more ideas we get. So we are like on this fast track to get to do more. So yeah, so I do feel that, and Webby has this task also, that as we free up time to think, how do we put structure to thinking? Because we are so used to doing that we don't also have a way to think and use that time. So, yeah, so let's learn together, share ideas, and, would love to see how we can collaborate. We put our coordinates uh, on the chat. I'll put mine as well. And let us know how you want to stay engaged. We are going to stay on for another 15 minutes if you want to ask questions, if you want to, dig deeper. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining. Yes, Vaibhavi?
Can I please ask everybody to switch on their cameras if you're comfortable, and we can take a group photo if that's all right, consensually.
Okay. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Whenever we're all ready.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Yay, thank you so much.
I came so
Okay. So anybody has any questions for us? Or it was pretty clear? And also, if you think of a question later, because I know this was a lot of information and it takes time to absorb. Yes, Pamela.
Thank you, Elsa. I was thinking that you have something for us like a package involving everything you have opened our eyes to today. But it looks like it's not like that.
So what kind of package? I mean, we will be circulating the video and, you know, I think the best thing would be to reach out and see if you want to have a call with Floyd or with Colleen, and then decide, like, I mean, I don't know what package you're talking about, but yeah, because everybody's needs will be different, right? Everybody's
Different. Okay.
organizations are slightly different. So, it's to help you think through how do you implement AI in your own organization.
Also, everybody's at a different stage in the journey of AI adoption. So it's very
Okay.
difficult to package something. So feel free to reach out. We start where you are, and we'll help you along. So
Okay, Floyd. Thank you very much. It's understood.
Yeah.
I would like to ask a question. So when Floyd explained, I understand that you are a software engineer and you have some ease to use AI and how, because you said that we need to give the good input to AI and then AI can do well the job. And Colleen, she explained that she's not a web designer. So can you just explain, Colleen, how you did that web page when you said that you sat down Saturday morning? Did you have any training before, or how did you start? Were you just giving the right input to AI to build that page?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I am not technical and I am not a web developer and I'm not a graphic designer, but I have worked adjacent to and as a strategist for that work for a long time. My career is wild, weird, but I spent a lot of time in fundraising as a nonprofit fundraiser. And then I moved into strategic work and marketing work. So all I did is give really good communication and leverage the tool well. Now, I was a part of a tech startup 3 years ago that helped me to learn the language of tech, and I think that that's helpful, but truly not necessary in this moment in time with AI. The key is good communication and understanding the process. Bless you. Understanding the process as you work with it. And that's what Floyd mentioned about the journey everybody's going through with AI. I think is a great way to think about it. Of learning a new language is all about first just understanding what are the main terms that you need to understand in order to give good direction, and then building systems that help you to give that direction in an approach that will get to a strong output. The tools cover a lot of ground in terms of skill right now as it relates especially to the technical things like web development and graphic design and copywriting. But those gaps are closing for all sorts of different skill sets. So it's more about one, having a very robust organizational brain that as a source of truth, because from a data standpoint, having your AI index the entire internet is not an ideal approach for most applications. But having it understand you and your org and how you speak and how you don't speak, and what your visual representation of your brand should look like, and having those rules defined to the extreme gets you very far along. And then you can say, great, this is what I want to accomplish. This is how we want to do it. We built our own website using AI, which, we have an agency that's built websites for people on WordPress for a decade. And it's fundamentally changed the way that we develop websites. We've completely stopped selling WordPress websites. We're starting to only sell these AI generated websites, because what that allows, what's been amazing is for our own site, the page that I dropped in the chat here, I built it yesterday, and it would have been a few weeks of work just 6 months ago with our web developer, but the person that put it live, he's built it to the point that he was at baseball practice with his son, and he was giving direction through his phone to the AI that went and deployed the page. And no, not like this, like that, because that's how far along the direction was when I handed it off, that we were able to launch all of that within a few hours.
So if I may, Esther, I don't know, 25 years ago when I was, with one of my previous companies, they were actually training us how to use Word and PowerPoint and Excel, right? The next generation didn't have to learn those skills. They knew it. I was telling somebody about it and they were like shocked that we had to learn it. I think we are at this moment where we have to learn some basic skills on AI, but that gap is closing because of the audio feature. You know your process the best. You know your company the best. It's just about how do you clearly and concisely give it instructions, and you can dictate it. It will transcribe it for you and make sense and then follow your instructions. But one is we have to be comfortable with this because it's all new. Two is then mastering that, how do you give the prompts? And then once you get the hang of it, I think then you will figure it out as you go along.
And just to add to
Thank
it, what I tell people who ask me, how do I get started with AI? I say you ask AI themselves. So you go ask AI if you're using ChatGPT, if you're using Gemini, if you're using Claude. Say, I'm new to AI. Can you show me how I can do XYZ? Explain, just talk to it. Say, how do I prompt? How do I write how do I input the text to you? And it'll explain it to you. That's the beauty of it. So the more conversations you have with it, the better your expertise develops. But it tells you what to do, and that's the beauty about it. If you don't know what to do, ask it. Say, I don't know what to do. Tell me. There was a day that I was like, I was thinking of a couple of projects and I was not sure which one to do. So I actually said, I'm thinking of these roughly in my head. I have a couple of ideas. Can you tell me what projects I can build using these ideas? And it gave me a list of 20 projects. And then we had a discussion and then we slowly narrowed it down to two. So have a conversation with your AI. Ask if you're not comfortable, just tell it, say, I'm new to this. Can you teach me how to write a prompt, or can you teach me how to use AI the right way? And it'll teach you how to do.
Thank you.
And can I tell you, go to your settings and turn off that you don't want to train the whole database. So just do that first, and then, you know, it should uh, respect your consent settings.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Fatima, any thoughts? Fatima's our comms person, and she didn't see this.
She didn't see this.
I mean, she didn't see it beforehand. It was just you, me, and Colleen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the campaign, and I think the main issue with like using technology is a lot of times losing context of the, the audience that we're, speaking to. And it's so nice that we've reached a point where, like Colleen said, she lives in US, has no knowledge of Hindi, and is able to create a campaign that would not only speak to, like urban speakers in Delhi or Mumbai, but also like in outskirts and like villages and stuff like that. So I think that's really fascinating. So much, there's so much that we can do with it.
That is such a
Thanks.
relief. That was the thing I was most nervous about, Fatima. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you so much. And you know how to get in touch with us. We really loved this session. It was the first time we were doing it, so but it went off well. So yeah, we can do more of these sessions and help people get onto their AI journey. So thank you very much and good luck. Hope to cross paths again with all of you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.